How was lunch?
It was very good. I'm suffering right now, though.
Hey. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got this beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Welcome to Hoovie's Garage, the dumbest automotive channel in all of YouTube. And I am in my newly purchased 1996 Ferrari F355 on my way to the car wizards to find out what's wrong with it. And well, I already know there is a lot wrong with it. It's leaking oil from several places. The top doesn't work, the air conditioning doesn't work, and it's also misfiring in the back, and it has a really unsettling ticking noise that is hopefully an exhaust leak, despite it having a completely replaced exhaust system. So, quite a mess. I'm lucky this thing made it 500 miles back to my house. It's trying so hard, despite the 15-year-old tires and all the issues. It didn't want to let me down. So I do want to help this thing, but also it is the 2-year anniversary of owning my Ferrari 348. So I had Magic Mike drive the car up. He had a date night, so he got to go out in the Ferrari, and we can compare the two cars a little bit and do a quick once-over on the 348 for its 2-year anniversary. The 348, despite having 100,000 miles on it, it's just in a completely different world condition-wise than this 33,000 mile 355. It's gonna be bad. So listen to how this one runs. On, even, and tappy. Not good. But the 348, and that's a cold start. Much quieter, much smoother. Same Capristo exhaust. Very even. So, Houston, we have a problem. So you're probably thinking, with these two models parked next to each other, they look very, very similar. And you're absolutely right. These are basically the same platform of cars. When the 348 came out in the late 80s, well, it was a very of-its-time styled car. And it got criticized because it looked too much like the Testarossa, which was already kind of a dinosaur in the looks department. And the horsepower wasn't all that great, 296 horsepower. They did a 20 horsepower bump in 1994, but in 1995, they completely refreshed it here with the 355, even though it is pretty much the same platform. 380 horsepower, 5-valve V8. Redlines to 8,500 RPM on this one versus 75. You have a 6-speed in this one versus a dogleg 5-speed. But if you look at the panels and the little things, there are so many subtle differences. They tweaked and restyled every bit of the cars from the 348 to the 355. Yeah, they really didn't want people to think that this was basically the same car, and they changed, well, everything. The bumpers are different, the mirrors are different, the side treatment obviously way, way different. Different wheels, a different cowling setup, and interior-wise, well, it looks very, very similar to the 348 actually. The dash vents are very similar. The center stack is similar, even though mine in the 348 is kind of a hoopty. The rear end treatment, this one has the Challenge grille on the back, which looks great, versus these more strakes on the back, which I think look really cool as well. But it's not just the looks. The driving experience of the two cars is very, very different. And it's not just the horsepower or lack thereof in the 348. It has something that is way better than the 355. My seats are obviously a little less than stock, just a touch, but some other differences. The seat belts in the 348 come from the middle versus the normal side on the 355. Talks about the dog leg being different, 5-speed versus 6-speed. This is plywood, but you can see the interior, the dash pods, very, very similar. But I really don't care about the less horsepower. This thing could have 100 less horsepower and it would still be my favorite car, just because of the noise that it makes. I mean, power isn't everything. I'm not gonna rev it too hard because it's not fully warmed up yet. Just 1,000 less RPM, but the big difference and what makes this so much better than the 355 is the steering feel. The 348 isn't power assisted. It is a manual analog steering wheel, which in the Testarossa or say the Countach is very, very heavy on parking. But with a smaller, lighter car like this 348, it is perfect. The feel of this car is so good. Dive it into the turn. Oh yeah. Well, let's get this thing back to the Wizards and the 355 in the garage and check the cars out. Not too worried about this one. The other one, whew. Yeah, I kind of have that look too.
It sounds like a Chevy truck.
It's got some noises to it, yes, and it's not the smoothest.
It needs some love.
You think?
Yeah.
Amore. Yeah, there's plenty of issues with this thing, unfortunately, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, these are basically the same platform, but they are very, very different cars, so I thought we could compare them mechanically. The 348 and the 355. You could also look at the 348. It's my 2-year anniversary of owning that car.
It's really giving you no trouble.
Yeah, like zero problems ever since you sorted it out. It's been flawless, and just from the difference, I mean, it's hard to believe that's a 100,000-mile car just based on the way the engine looks, and this is the 30,000-mile car. Just some very, very hard miles, but differences. Same mid-engine V8. The platform, at least the chassis, looks very similar, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of similarities and there's a lot of differences. Well, one thing is this has motors on each shock. The 348 doesn't have that for active suspension.
It does not, but it looks like it has the same kind of shocker spring perch towers.
Yeah, it'd be very similar.
Yeah. Well, and I see, it looks like one airflow sensor, right?
Yes.
Versus 2 on this car, but they are still divided up into 2 different banks, basically, because you see the ignition 4 wires into you know, whatever that is, ignition box. Same with this car, huh?
Yes. This one's 5.2 and it has one single airflow sensor. Also has 2 more oxygen sensors and a few other sensors added to it. This one's a 2.7. It has the twin throttle body position sensors on it.
Yeah. Well, much higher red line. This one has an extra gear, but these don't have the fire issues, which I guess the fuel lines aren't back there to rub, are they?
Right. This one's 4 valves per cylinder as well, and that one over there is 5.
Cinque valvole. And the exhaust used to be up here on this car, but with the aftermarket Capristo, it's down low. That's why you can see the clutch. But the actual clutch placement, the weirdness of these cars, very similar. So take a look at the 348. 2 years, it really hasn't needed anything but oil changes. I mean, the valve covers have always been seeping, but we're going on year 5 or 6 on the belts, though. So it's getting close.
It's getting close
to the engine out. I think I have 1 more year, but otherwise, it looks great to me. What do you think?
I think it's interesting how what you would expect just hearing how many miles are in each one, but they have the opposite effect. You would think that would be the 100,000-mile one.
Right.
This one would be the 30.
Well, this one has like $50,000-$60,000 in service records.
Yes.
That came with it. 2 transmission rebuilds, a bunch of engine outs, a lot of maintenance, a lot of care. This one, well, it didn't come with much. The engine out is similar on this one. We're at 6 years on this one, so we are close there.
I think it's time. We'll see, though.
There's leaks, there's noises, as you heard. There's a lot to inspect.
Definitely.
So, anyway, shall we?
Let's get it on the lift.
So it's misfiring a little bit without a check engine light. It actually runs better cold than it does hot as far as the idle goes.
Okay.
And then you hear the clickety-clack of exhaust, right?
It's actually, the idle sounds to me like a boring LS motor.
It doesn't sound good, but it sounds better than that.
Okay.
How do we find out if there's an exhaust leak?
So what we can do is get the smoke machine and actually hook it up and just blow smoke up its...
Oh, so not down the intake, but up its pipe?
Yeah, it's rumpus.
Sorry. How was lunch?
It was very good. I'm suffering right now, though.
I guess the smoke machine's going. So...
Is that some of those churches, they do the...
Oh, let's This is an Italian car. We don't want to make fun of Catholics here.
Oh.
This thing will remember.
All right.
All right. Well, there's plenty of smoke out here. Let's put it inside the exhaust now. Oh, there's smoke. It's low. Yeah, it's nowhere near the headers. But that's just past the muffler, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, so nothing conclusive from that hole, so we have other holes to try?
Yep.
Okay. In the same spot past the muffler. But that wouldn't make noise.
It could.
So it's leaking at basically the exhaust tips past the muffler.
Yeah, right where the headers come out and hook to the muffler, right? That joint is...
Oh, so it's before it goes into the Capristo.
Yeah.
Oh, that would make sense. Okay, I was worried it was just the tips themselves.
No.
All right. Well, that would cause noise.
Yep.
It's definitely smoking. But
yes.
Good news is it's not smoking way back here.
No, it's not the headers.
All right. Well, I feel like we need to do something.
What's that?
So what do you think about that idle?
It's definitely misfiring at idle. When these are idling and everything's basically like your 348, everything's sorted, it should be just one solid hum, like not.
But there's no check engine light.
That's very odd.
I know. Yeah, I know. So that's why I'm worried that it's not registering misfire, but running like that.
We'll have to start with plugs and check the coils, make sure it's not a broken wire. There could be a misfire even though it's not reporting one. There also could be a code, it's just not turning on the light. We'll have to see.
Alrighty. Well, there's also numerous leaks and a very strange noise underneath. When I go over 80 miles an hour, something bangs on a wheel or on the ground, like a loose panel.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Sounds like me in the bathroom a minute ago.
Oh. Well, yeah, we saw the aftershocks of that earlier, but shall we go up?
Yes, let's get this unhooked.
So, leaks. There's a big leak in the back that really did great things to my driveway, which this is where the clutch lives.
Yes.
So it's kind of weird on the 348 and the 355. The clutch is on the very back, and then the transmission, and then the engine. Makes clutch changes really easy, but there shouldn't be oil in there.
No, there shouldn't be. And you can see straight up ahead, it's slinging it out everywhere.
Oh, yeah. So one of the receipts for this car is like a new clutch, which was $7,000 worth of work, which is now being coated with oil.
Mm-hmm. One thing we can do is take this little grill off and see if it's wet inside of there.
Okay.
I wonder what's beeping. Yep. Straight up ahead, there's the output seal on the transmission. See it dripping?
Yeah.
They didn't address that when they did the clutch, I guess.
And now it's coating the clutch.
Yes.
Which is not good for it.
No.
All right. Well, we're off to a good start here. There's more. There's so much more oil.
Just wait, there's more.
Okay.
So everything's dry on the transmission here. Look at that. The valve cover gaskets are.
Oh, yeah, I could see that from the top, but that's real bad.
Yep.
And is it just getting it everywhere?
Yeah, it's just coating the whole side of the motor. It's getting all over the hoses and.
Yuck.
This valve cover as well, even worse.
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty good stream of oil there.
Yep. These are Fab Speed headers. See the Fab Speed Motorsports?
Well, that's good. But it really does sound like the headers are leaking though, Wizard.
I think I saw, yeah, the gasket on this forward one. It's kind of rusted or rotten. There's really nothing there. It's kind of blown out.
So I need new exhaust gaskets?
Yeah, I'll have to get a set of gaskets. Those won't be too bad to change out.
Okay.
So you had a banging noise or something?
Yeah. With Ferraris, I mean, you basically buy the engine and the rest of the car's extra, as Enzo would say. And, well, underneath it's just a big piece of plastic. But something... Yeah,
Oh, there it is.
Well, yeah. I think that's it. Yeah, we don't have a screw. We don't have any screws here.
No,
Zero.
it's gone.
Nada.
So the wind's catching it and just
Yeah, on both corners, and it scraped it away. So this should be one full panel, and now I have a, well, it looks like Kansas a little bit on this side. Yeah.
There's 2 nuts holding this entire panel up. There should be about 6 or 8.
Wonderful. All right.
Guess we can move forward to the...
Yeah. Well, we have it on a different lift, so you can't really shake the suspension, but it feels pretty tight. Only 30,000 miles.
The brakes are about half gone, but they're still good.
All right.
Nothing leaking on the... Nothing leaking on the strut there.
Good. Tires are ancient, unfortunately.
Yeah. Everything looks dry here. There's a little bit of wetness. Uh-oh, steering rack. Look at the drip.
Oh. Yeah, this one has power steering. That's another difference between the 348 and the 355 is no power steering on that. What?
Yeah, that's power steering fluid.
So my rack's leaking?
Yeah.
I just went through all that with the Diablo.
Oh, man.
Okie dokie. Well, there is one more thing, and that's the top.
The top?
The top, no worky.
Does it do anything?
I'll show you. So before I bought it, I tried the top, and it basically attacked me in the seat. People have suggested that the seat wasn't moving up. It was. I've had one of these before. I know how it's supposed to work. This one, okay, I'm going to try and do it with the seat all the way forward, but I still have to sit in it to work the switch here. Oh, ow, ow. Okay, you can close the door, please.
Okay.
All right. Parking brakes on. Push. Okay, it beeped. And now let's put it down. All right, it's moving the seats forward. As it's supposed to, it's crushing me. And there it goes. Oh. And that's all she wrote, Wizard.
That's as far as it'll go, huh?
That's it. And now it's jammed. I'm seeing a lot of bad things happening. Here, can you open the door for me? I'm trapped.
You're doing a lot better than I would.
Okay. I feel like it's crooked. You can see this hook is all the way down here. That one's dug into that metal piece over there.
Yeah.
And if you look on the passenger side, when this thing comes down, it's hitting the side of the car and like ripping away at this leather upholstery in the interior. It's almost like it's come apart somehow. But the rams are all doing their job.
Like it's binding.
Yeah.
It gets to a certain distance and just gets caught and binds up.
Also, nice mold growth down there.
Oh my goodness.
A mold in a Ferrari. Oh, so there's that.
It sounds like quite a list.
This is going to be a mega yacht or another island, or is that a painting?
No, that's a 3-room flat in Portofino.
That's the view?
Yes, take a look.
Wow. Oh my, Portofino, Italy.
Look out that window. Look out the window.
Yeah, goodness. 1.5 million pounds. They're euros, actually.
Euros.
Ooh. That's like, yeah, more than $2 million.
I think we can swing it.
That's about the most expensive thing you shop for.
It'll make a good down payment anyway.
Can you imagine, Wizard, just looking out that window every day and deciding whether you're going to take your yacht out for a ride or your Ferrari 348 or 355?
It's beautiful. And the really amazing thing is the estimate I have is a really good down payment on that.
I don't see how. But please, yes, get started.
Okay, most of the issues you're having in the back with the engine is going to be solved with an engine out job. It's the leaks, the exhaust leaks, where it's leaking at the clutch, timing belts, everything can be solved.
We are right at 5 years on the belt service.
Yeah.
Which is when you're sort of supposed to, but you can stretch it a little longer if you... So we're going to have to do our first ever engine out, you're saying, huh?
Yes. 8 to 9 grand.
Okay.
But wait, there's more.
So that'll fix the exhaust manifold leak. That'll fix the valve cover leak.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's
Also, it'll fix the clutch leak where it's leaking oil.
Okay, because the engine's coming out. And then we have fresh belts and pulleys and the things you're supposed to do as a regular maintenance with that car.
Right.
Yeah, whatever they're doing out there is what I'm wanting to do to myself for buying this. Anyway, all right. Starting off with a bang.
Literally.
Yeah.
So the steering rack we saw that was leaking.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes really bad too. If we put a brand new rack in, it's going to be $5,500. We can put in a good used one that's not leaking for $3,500.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and then the rebuilds were every bit of that for a rebuild, but then with the Diablo, it took 3 tries and the car was down for 4 months. It was so stupid. So, okay. So, used, yes. All right.
Okay. To convert the top to manual, because it's really not necessary for it to be powered. Once you convert it to manual, these things, just like 2 seconds, it's down.
Right, the 348 top is manual, and it's very easy, and it's basically the same thing. They just put rams to it, so you can just disconnect it in an hour, right, and do it.
$500.
Is anything cheap on this car?
No, it's a Ferrari, not a Honda Civic.
I think that's it, though. That's all the things on the list, right?
Well, there's one more.
Okay.
The belly pan on the bottom is flopping and needs some bolts and screws put in it. $9.67.
There we go. There we go. Okay, and there's all the cosmetic issues I got to deal with, but that's not your problem. So
No.
what's the?
So everything could total up to be $15,009.67.
But if I go with the used steering rack, it'll be less, right?
It could be right around 13.
Well, there isn't a 355 for sale for under 80 right now. It's really hard to find one under 100 right now.
Right.
And I bought that one very, very cheaply to where with cosmetics, even if I'm spending 20 grand on this car, I'm still way under the money. 30,000 miles, clean Carfax, yellow. It's not that bad. That's our first ever engine out, Wizard.
It is on one of those.
All right, well, here we go. What do I usually say at the end? I mean, my brain's just ruined right now.
Say thank you for watching.
Oh, thank you for watching. Jeez.